Hello again, everybody, and welcome to our fifth installment of Echoed Influence. I'm here as always with April Rodriguez. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm great, and I am Anthony Spartacus Tamayo. We have special guests here with us, Yellow Fuzz.
Alan Sosa.
Arwen Llames.
How you guys doing?
Good. Your last name is Spartacus?
No.
That's awesome.
No, that's a name that I took claim of. Have you ever watched the show?
Spartacus?
Yeah,
I watched it.
It's my all-time favorite show.
Oh, really?
It's like I love the directing, and there's like everything was really spot on. Stephen D. Knight, he's the director of Spartacus, and he was talking to Sony about doing a God of War movie. So it's very exciting for me. But I watched it so often. I have talked to all my friends about it. I got all my friends to watch it, and so like I'm such a big fan that for a while they were just calling me Spartacus.
Oh, that's
Like just threw my whole name out the window and just said, "You're Spartacus. Let's just call you that for a while." So even my Instagram is 109BC_Spartacus. So that's so people can help them find me. So tell us a little bit about yourselves, guys.
When someone says like you're meeting someone for the first time, what would you tell them about yourself?
I like cats.
You like cats? Oh, okay, you're a cat person.
Nutella.
And you tell them.
You have?
Just
Do you
like
have any
Snickles?
cats?
I have like 3.
Three?
I-
She has
No.
like Charlie from Always Sunny. You ever watch that
Puts
show?
him
He
in
just
the
like loves cats. He keeps taking them in.
That's me in the future.
Yeah. If I could do that with the dogs, I would. You know, I don't even know if I'm supposed to keep this fourth one, but the pup. But I am. I'm gonna keep her. I'm fighting tooth and nail for it. It's like going to a political meeting every time. But she will give this family benefits.
Trying to like
She gives
not
me
barter, but like.
Yeah.
What else? Tell me.
I'm not that much. I like comics, but like knowledge-wise, I'm kind of amateur. Like I know the basics basically,
Mhm.
but yeah, I kind of grew up watching like Batman, the anime. Like my uncle's obsessed with Batman. He has like a Batman license plate, Batman ring, Batman wallet, Batman everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like know most of like DC from him,
I see.
and
So-
he takes us to like every new like movie that comes out from like Marvel or DC.
That's nice
That's
of him.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be that uncle, but on the Marvel side. You know, I have a nephew, and I've had the nephew in there when he was little. I used to take him to all the movies too, especially if they were like rated R, because he really liked the Punisher as well as I did.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you can come with me. We're gonna go watch the Punisher together. You know, those were the days. Are you a Batman fan as a result?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I just had to ask.
Yeah.
On our next installment, we're supposed to do a crossover battle with him and Hawkeye. Maybe we'll have you on if you have any information. If you ever got Batman fans that day, maybe 2 or 3 of them.
You dislike Batman.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You called him a pedo?
Yeah. Like the comic books would always suggest that something happened, especially like in the 1970s. The way he was drawn, I don't think that's what they were going for personally.
Yeah.
It's just something to make fun of him.
Yeah.
Like there's the way it's drawn, it looks like he's in bed with Robin. You have to look really close because the bed's barely split, but the fact that they're in bed in the same room together sleeping is weird, you know? I always thought the
And he
idea
lives
of
in a
like
mansion.
yeah, like everybody thought because Batman's Batman or because he's a billionaire, what he's doing is not so weird or bad. But think about this, like you lose your family and some guy just takes you in because he feels it's the right thing to do. I feel rapey vibes, you
Yeah.
know, like this. Why do you mean?
And, like,
Why-
Petrified.
especially the big drop in age. Like he's a grown man.
yes.
He lives
And-
by himself.
And in those 70s comics, you can't help but wonder, like, why is Batman all spatted up, and Robin's in like these short shorts? Like,
Oh, yeah.
like yes, it's provocative, but at the same time, you're putting that kid in danger, man. Like, you're just like, here, throw me the gun. Why can't I use it? You know, throw me the fucking gun. You know. So like, Batman is never like. I remember growing up and like he was never a favorite, and then getting a little older, I was like, man, there's guys with incredible feats that I don't think Batman could match. I would see Spider-Man just. I figured he would beat the shit out of Bane. Like, he would grab Bane and just give him a whooping,
Yeah.
like, you know. But for Batman, he's get his back broken.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's just me as a I think I could find interest or enjoyment out of Batman if it wasn't for like the bullheaded fans.
Yeah.
The fans really kill it for me. They think like he's an indestructible guy, and
Oh,
it's just, I'm
they're
sick of
diehard
like
fans.
yeah. Well, with prep time, bro, that's just like saying, but Jesus, and it's like
Yeah.
oh, it's not the answer to everything, man. That sucks. Give me explanations. I want science, you know. That's why I'm a fan of the Punisher, the guy who earns his place, you know. How about yourself? Yeah.
Oh, like describing myself.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
I feel like I'm known in my friend group as like getting everyone into the music.
Oh,
or,
that's
like,
cool.
Oh yeah.
sometimes movies. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to describe myself. I'm very like music like
Inclined.
inclined. Yeah.
How about last time we talked, we heard you to be a movie buff.
Oh yeah, I'm really
Top
really into movies.
top five favorite movies.
Oh, I got it sorted in my head.
That's a hard question, huh?
I was gonna ask you guys. This is a comic podcast. How do you feel about the comics and movies? Like, what are your
Like movie adaptations of the
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what? We just talked about that not too long ago with my friend Robert. Personally, me, like, I always thought that when they were making the movies from the comics, they were trying to base the character from the comics, so they're trying to do their
Yeah.
best to bring that to real life cinema.
Yeah.
That's my thinking. And then I read on to some facts, and if you know about comic books, they have like different worlds, like different dimensions or different universes where they're parallel. And so they're saying that the MCU, the cinema universe, it's a whole different world in its own. So the powers and just things can be a little bit different and played with. I mean, obviously Thanos is much stronger in the comics than he is in here
Does
in
he
the
kill
movie.
everyone?
In the comics,
In both or both?
in the movie, he killed just about everybody,
Yeah.
you know, but he just maybe about half of like important folks.
But I think like sometimes the movies do a great job. Like I thought personally, Watchmen was fantastic.
Oh my God!
I thought it was
like
so.
if you've
still
read the
haven't seen it. Yeah,
you haven't seen it.
I read the book, but then like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good enough.
I didn't read all of it,
It's
and I got
fantastic.
really sad because like when you guys were talking about it earlier, it's like I feel bad because I really wanted to finish the book.
There's still
It's-
time.
yeah,
There's
it's just-
definitely
It's
still
worth
time.
the read, and it's exactly like the movie, except when I read it, I think there's like one scene in it that Rorschach, he goes in there and he beats the hell out of everybody in the bar. And this is a beginning scene, like he breaks the guy's
Yeah.
finger, and
I mean, they had to cut down. They
yeah,
couldn't put
Zack
everything.
Snyder probably wanted to do
And
everything.
some things are different in the movie than they are in the book, but I mean, it was
Not very
just-
much.
It was just, the ending. The ending is
Different?
Is yeah.
Okay.
But it's fantastic. I think they did a great job for the movie. You know.
Mm-hmm. Zack Snyder really watches and pays attention. Like 300 was a comic book,
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
you know, and he I can see his style, you know.
Yeah.
I can see what he wanted to bring to life.
You said
You
top
never-
5 movies. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Type of-
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard one.
How about maybe not top 5, but just a few
Just
that are
movies.
your favorite? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very into like, I feel like lesser known, maybe like not as like
independent movies.
Indies.
not like
Yeah.
I'll give an
Like B
example.
projects, like B listed.
Have you seen Life is Beautiful? It's like an Italian
I
movie.
haven't
It's
seen
old.
that one. I've heard of that
I
one.
got to see it.
With
in my
Adrian Brody?
No, that's The Pianist. It's another
Oh,
like
Similar.
that one's really good.
Yeah, I
but
haven't
like
seen that one either.
Life is Beautiful is like it's kind of like a Holocaust movie or Holocaust times, and it's just like a guy and his family, and like he's really just he sees the bright side of everything, and like it's so nice, like well shot. I'm really into like camera work and stuff.
Cinematography
Yeah,
and whatnot.
cinematography.
Have you seen The Revenant?
Yeah. Oh.
The cinematography on that was really good. They did like
Yeah.
these one shot takes, and it lasted like a good 6 minutes of just like like you
Yeah.
know, you see the arrows throwing, and fucking eventually I don't know who exactly they were fighting. I can't really recall, but it was just like
bear?
one long take. You know, that was a long take too. Like, damn, just getting his ass beat for 10 minutes,
I know.
man. Oh, damn, that was an intense scene.
Yeah, it was really intense.
No Country for Old Men is another
No,
one that
that
has
was good.
great cinematography.
Mm,
great
I love that
shots.
movie.
Yeah, it's so good.
If I'm thinking of it right.
With the,
If you said you liked B-listed movies, or you know, like kind of like off the radar movies.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Boondock Saints?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, did you like it?
Yeah, of course.
I remember watching it back in '99, and I was just like, this movie's fucking dope. Like, I was religious back then. I was a Catholic, and watching that only enhanced the Catholicism. Like, see, I can be a badass and be a Catholic, you know? Have you seen it? Oh man, like, you've seen it. I made her watch it. I was like, you gotta watch this shit. Like, they're like the Punisher. You know, they go after all the bad guys. But at least they pray for them. You know, put them on their knees,
before.
say a prayer, shoot them, put pennies on their eyes for the boatmen to take them. You know, that was a pretty interesting movie. Did you end up watching the second?
I didn't see the second.
No,
Did you?
it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. It's not like, oh fuck, I gotta see it, or you're probably not gonna want to watch it again after.
It's always the second movie. Like when the first one, it's like it's always good, and the second one comes in, I'm just like afraid.
It's appreciated, definitely.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all, but it is appreciated. You can see like how they try to make the correlation between the first one, and how like just in this one, it's just a modern day take.
Yeah.
And they replaced Rocco with some funny ass Mexican dudes. That guy for me kind of saved the movie.
I love watching movies with him because he always shows me like the parts of movies that I wouldn't have seen before.
Yeah.
Makes me appreciate movies that I might not have
Like
appreciated.
subtle things.
Yeah, he'll show me like, oh, that's so cool that they do this, or oh, did you see that? And it's like, man, like I might not
I know, I
have.
love people like that.
Yes, that help you to appreciate.
Yeah, and like, oh, look at this. Or like, I
Yeah,
like how they did
shoot.
this. And I'm like, that is nice, huh?
And widen your perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the same thing for when I got God of War 4. Have you guys played it?
I play a little bit of it.
If you don't like the it's just an immaculate scene, just everything, every detail is magnificent. And as we're watching it, like we're both watching it and everything, and I will point out like, look, do you see that deer? Obviously you can see the goddamn deer. I mean, he's glowing blue and he's beautiful, but I can't help but like just, look at this flower, look at that fucking flower. Look at it. And like, I'm just like walking, just going up to the flowers. I'm not even playing the game anymore. And the boy's like, come on. And I'm like, boy,
Hold on.
shut the fuck up. So, how old are you guys? 15, 16?
I'm 16.
14? So what's high school like nowadays for you guys? I'm sure 10 years for me, it's a big difference from my day.
I feel like no one has any respect for anyone. in
Really?
high school. Yeah, it's the vibe.
Like how I told you in my PE class, no one even like listens to the teachers. Like I feel so bad. Like if I'm surprised like he hasn't retired yet because like no one respects anyone anymore. Like they talk back. Everyone's just like, I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say, what do you think the cause of that is?
I think like just the internet, and they're like really into drugs. Like
Really?
you'll see like people like on Xans at school, and I'm like, whoa.
Really? I thought like drinking at school was kind of a big deal. It didn't happen every day.
Yeah.
Some of the skaters would come in with, kind of high,
Oh, yeah.
and like they'll get it in their,
Juice
they'll have it in their Coke bottle. It's very discreet, but taking Xanax, I've never,
But it's a new,
I've never
it's
taken
a new
one, so I don't
generation.
know.
Like,
It's
this
the
is
evolution of
something-
it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, I don't know. I think he was a junior. His name was Chris, and he died. And everyone's like, they had to go fund me, but apparently, like I found out last week, he died from overdosing.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
really?
I know. That's like what scares me.
Wait, and he was trying to, or he wasn't?
It was an
It
accident.
was an accident.
Wow.
Oh,
Then they
dang.
had previously written it off as a suicide.
I'm not sure,
Oh, I see.
because it was like during the first semester.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
You're
over
talking-
Christmas
Yeah,
break,
and I
right?
barely found out like this week
I
that it was an
didn't know that.
overdose.
Everyone was saying
Yeah,
that.
I know.
So it was over Christmas
he
break?
Killed himself, right?
Yeah. I think.
That's
Yeah,
just
I
not
think
the
it.
one we were
I think
talking
it was
about.
probably suicide, but I don't know. That's why, like, I don't know. Like, our age kind of scares me
Mhm.
Why?
because, like, they grow up. I think they grow up too fast,
Yeah.
and everyone's like all into like gangs or like they want to fight everyone.
Like everyone's just jaded.
Yeah, their pride is a huge fucking deal to them, like their ego.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, to me, I think it has a lot to do with. I think that has a lot to do with a lot of things, but one thing is that I think a lot of parents have a hard time giving their kids enough independence for them to be able to learn
Yeah.
how to be independent, and showing them that they have a foundation still at home. That even if they do something dumb, or even if they reveal parts of themselves that they were scared to reveal, that they'll still be accepted and loved.
Yeah.
And I think those two things are lacking and making people feel like stifled up and crazy almost,
Yeah, like even in my day, I felt like everybody that I talked to, they all had some story with coping with suicide or the thought of it, and I can only imagine like it's like almost like a rite of passage now, I'm sure, for kids. Like you're fighting that demon at some point where it's like, fuck man, like you have this ambition for suicide at some point, and then I don't know, can you guys relate to something like that? Like, do you guys ever think about it?
Yeah.
Is it something that just it's just heavy on your shoulders.
I feel like it also has a lot to do with music nowadays. Like a lot of people are just like being sad and like.
And you
like
have like Elliott Smith, who was like such an icon when he killed himself. I remember that was such a huge deal.
Chris Cornell.
Oh, that!
You know,
Oh my gosh,
Chester
more recently,
Bennington.
yes.
You know.
Yeah.
I think like depression's like literally everywhere now. Like even people like even if they'll be sad for one day, they'll just be like, I'm depressed. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
it's really
everything. Yeah, it's really glorified. And
I see, it's,
like
like,
especially
cool.
13 Reasons
Yeah.
Why. Like I can't stand 13 Reasons Why like at all.
Yeah, I don't like that either. When I see my mom watching it, I just basically tell her, like, this is for teenagers, this is a guide on how to kill yourself. Or
like almost encouraging it.
Yeah, like, I guess in a sense, yeah, just like, this is what you're going to go through, this is what you're going to feel.
Exactly.
If you can handle it, feel free, you know, like, and pretty sure it's more encouraging than it is raising awareness. But,
yeah, I just feel like everything's taken so lightly now. Like people will be sad for one day and they'll be like depression, or they'll get nervous once they'll be like, oh, I have anxiety. Like no, or like I don't know.
And it's hard to tell, like as an adult or the people outside of them, like if they're being truthful or not. Like for me, like as a sub, I've heard so many students say it, you know, like because you're right, it is a.
Or they'll be like, oh,
myself,
I want to
or-
kill myself. Yeah, oh, I want to kill myself.
Yeah,
exactly.
And everyone says it, and it's hard to. You're right, it is hard to know, but. You have to pay attention to all the other signs too, you know, like, and that's hard if you don't know what they are.
And it does suck that we did put that rite of passage on ourselves. Like we put our kids in an institution where they're basically just around a bunch of other assholes trying to figure it out, and one kid or whatever, like one youngster who decides to do it his way, which is not even most healthiest, which is like bullying or making someone else feel like shit. And you know, I'm kind of looking at the institution of things too, not just the disconnection from family, but like it feels like you said, no one respects each other over there. How about the teachers? Do they respect the students?
They
I mean,
try their best.
they do try.
I mean, all my teachers, they just look tired and done.
And how could you be interested in doing that when the pay?
Well,
I know the pay is not so good for
it's
teachers.
not even just the pay, because like as a teacher, you can get over the pay because the students are the best part of the job.
Honestly.
Like they're talking and hanging out with the students is the best part. But now as teachers, you have all of these like, okay, I have to do this, I have to make this. There's this restriction. I have to this much time. I have, you know, to accomplish these things in like 1 week, and you're like, I can't even get kids to finish a worksheet in a day.
I
Like,
know.
you
Like
know,
it's all overwhelming.
for everybody. It just comes from the top and it trickles its way down, and then everybody's overwhelmed and unhappy. And I don't think the teachers are even like the education system, you know? Like, they're unhappy in it, but they're doing their best, or at least they think they're doing their best. Even the really strict teachers, I feel like, they think they're doing their best by, no, you can't use your headphones, or no, you can't do this, you know?
I just feel like the students really lack etiquette.
Yeah.
Like now, like I don't know, what really bothers me is when parents, like I'll see like at Walmart, like their kid in the cart, and they'll just give them their phone and watch YouTube. Like no, you're like
learn the discipline instead of just accommodating.
Of like telling them, oh, this is like right, this is wrong. Like if the kid won't stop crying, here's my phone. Like this will distract you. Like you're letting the phone parent your kid.
It's like Brave New World.
And it's so funny how like a lot of parents do say that. Yeah, I mean it's the kids' parents, they're not doing their part and everything, and the person saying that is that parent too, you know, like they just associate like as if their kid's something special, or as if like they're I don't know, I heard this comedian talk about like successful children, and he's like, oh, you know, it's the parents, you know, they gotta be the ones on the kid's ass, and everybody starts clapping. And he goes, I don't know what the fuck you guys are all clapping for. Statistically speaking, all you guys have dumbass kids, you know, like what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Do you know George Lopez?
Yeah.
He did this like one comedy. He's like, kids today are like so privileged, they don't even put the CDs back in the cases. I'm like, for real.
That's funny.
Before it wasn't like I wouldn't get up to fucking change the channel if I couldn't find the remote.
I know,
You
you mentioned that too.
Just throw
But
my chancla at it.
Speaking of, I like people think laziness, right? We were talking the other day, laziness. People who procrastinate are thought of as lazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I read an article that said that it has more to do with the fear of failure. People procrastinate because they're afraid they're not going to do good enough, so they put it off to the last second, and then okay, well, that's all I could do in that little bit of time, you know, like. And I think we haven't taught our kids how to fail. What it mean, a failure isn't the end.
That's another thing, because like I have a little brother, and he's like in soccer, and I went with my dad, And then he was telling me how they played soccer, and he's like, this is what I don't like, because apparently how they play soccer, they don't even have points or anything. It's just for fun.
How old is your brother?
He's 6.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
So then every time they make a goal, they wouldn't keep track of points because it's just for fun.
It's practicing.
But those parents, I know they do, because at the park over here for football, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
they
my
don't
dad
keep
was getting
track.
so mad about that. He was like, you need to teach your kid, and there's kids that are, there's just kids that are already naturally competitive anyways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta stop so your kids have to learn how to be butthurt. That's learn how to accept things. Because when you get a job and someone yells at you, you're gonna be like, why are they yelling at me? Because you have to you gotta learn
or when you get broken up with,
or
when you fail a class.
Not everything's gonna be the way. Not everything's gonna go your way. Not everyone's gonna be happy.
The example I always give is when you were a baby and you were learning how to eat. You got food all over your face, but that didn't stop you from eating.
Yeah.
And when you were learning to walk, you fell down a lot. You didn't just get up one day and we're start walking all over the place. But it didn't stop you from walking. We at some point though we're taught that if you fail, you're the worst ever. You just suck for life. You're gonna work at McDonald's and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the end.
But for millennials, we've been told before that millennials don't like to work or millennials aren't working, but when you guys get older, you guys are gonna go to the DMV. You guys are probably gonna have to go to court for whatever reason. You guys are gonna have to, if you guys leave your job after 2 years, they're gonna hit you up for pension stuff. All these jobs are super important, and if you do go to the DMV, you would notice that everybody there is a fucking baby boomer. Everybody there is over 40. Everybody in the courthouse over 40. Everybody in the pension, you're trying to get your money or your EDD. All these people are over 40 with these jobs that claim that they've worked hard for many years to get there. These people don't do their fucking job. They don't. There's those type of people everywhere is all I'm saying. There's lazy people in every generation. It's I don't understand why people single out the millennials and below. I guess you guys are Generation Z.
Yeah.
So, they really just point that out about us. And it's first of all, you guys trained us, you know what I mean? You guys are the parents, you guys trained us. You guys got to accept that responsibility for yourself. It seems as a masses, yeah. And it seems as a masses, they're constantly nope, it's your fault. Yeah. And it's I can see us as a generation, millennials and the Zs, and we're kind of just going, no, this is our responsibility. Yeah. This is our responsibility. You can say all the shit you want. You guys are going to be fucking dead in a few years. But we have to we have this, we have to do something about it. So, I mean, what's a dream job for you? What's for both of you?
I'm stuck between, obviously music and then writing and then filming.
Do it all.
Yeah.
Do it all.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Don't ever, because I had a teacher that did everything. He worked at El Rancho as a teacher. He was also a policeman. He was also a security guard. He also owned his own little restaurant. And when I heard him do that, I was like, that's what I want. I want to do fucking everything. I want to do one. I don't want to just do one thing.
Don't limit yourself.
Yeah. So, and yourself? What about you? What's a dream job for you?
Oh, I could say very likewise with Arwen. I'm very in entertainment. So
music, film.
Music.
Do you guys write scripts? Do you guys have anything written? Projects working on?
I've been having this idea for a really long time for a movie. I just need a camera.
Nice. This is the place to come to.
Yeah. Because I'm really into making movies.
That's awesome. So are we. We're in the midst of. We have a few scripts and stuff that we want to execute too. I wanted to speak up. You guys personally, when you guys research something, do you guys how in depth do you guys go? Do you guys really care? Do you guys?
I go really if I see a movie or a band that I really like, I'll go into depth. I just love the details, especially about movies.
Yes, as stories in general too.
Yeah.
Because I was just I was playing God of War 4. I'm gonna bring it up again. I've been doing that a lot, and they started talking about a God of War in Nordic mythology named Tyr, and he was actually a sounds like a heroic type of dude, doing the right thing, learning from other cultures. And when I learned about it in God of War, I looked it up, their version of how they depicted Tyr and whatever, and I looked up the actual mythology according to historians, and they were spot on. They were just almost word for word, it seemed like. And And I was just wondering, like, it's funny, like, I can literally reference the God of War as a how do you say, like, as a reference.
Oh,
like,
I
if you
guess
play
if
the
you
God
do.
of War, it'll explain it perfectly what it is, you know? So it's like, you know, when we do our research and everything, where's the line drawn? Like, if I told you that, would you be like, Dick, that's not serious, that's not a real source? And I'm going to say, why? You know, and look it up. Am I not accurate? And I'm going to be accurate. You know, so that's like, I just wanted to know, like, your depth of research. Would you consider a movie a valid source?
That's why I asked earlier about, like, you guys' opinion on when they do adaptations.
I see.
Because, like,
The accuracy.
you can't always, like, get it spot on, and
No.
like a lot of, like, I feel like Hollywood now is like, I'm just gonna take that source, make it my own, flip it, and it's not gonna be the comic. It's
Make
not
it
gonna be the book.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, to them. Well, because, like, 300, even the comic is way off from what probably actually happened.
Yeah.
You know, learning MMA, I learned about a Greek style called pancration, and the history about it is remarkable. If you get a chance, look it up. But the Spartan Greeks, they knew their main bread and butter, their style was pancration. 300 of those motherfuckers took out millions of Persians, not by not like how you see it in 300 throwing spears. It was more tactical. It was more like their sword was maybe 13 to 14, 15, 16 inches, something like that. Pretty close. So when they would do is they would wrestle them, take them to the ground, use their pancration, and stick them a few times, and then get back up and do it. Guys with spears would cover them. You know.
Yeah.
It was real more tactical. It was probably boring. It was probably not, it was probably like just
Probably a lot slower.
Takes
yeah,
some
yeah, a
No,
little
like,
hacking,
That
yeah.
famous scene where he kicks someone down.
Yeah, you know, it's just like we just got to make it epic. But you know, when 300 talked about, I believe it was a Gurgi. I don't know if I'm saying it proper, but it's when, you know, they inspect the baby and stuff. You know, that sort of shit. That was accurate, you know, which is, and it's sad, you know. But
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say a documentary can be used as a source. you
definitely.
know?
Oh, yeah.
So why couldn't a movie that did its own research be considered a source as well, as long as you were able to back up that?
Yeah, do the depth research on it,
Yeah,
like I did with Kratos. You know, it's like, of course I wouldn't play the game, hear that, and then go out and tell people this is truth. You know, I did go into my depth research. I went to the historians. I didn't go on Wikipedia.
I
You know,
think it's called like a secondary source, right? If I'm not
Oh yeah,
mistaken,
primary
right?
source is like someone
Directly from.
Directly
yeah,
from
and then
the
secondary source from like someone who like heard it.
Someone
So
else
the-
is like
let's
telling.
do a third and fourth too,
So-
because I got time and a new tablet.
So I think that it would be considered a secondary source because they got their information from something else.
So God of War would be the secondary source.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
But a source nonetheless.
Exactly. Yes.
Would you guys say that, like, the education system is serving you guys or failing you guys?
The
Okay.
math system confuses me, to be honest, because they change it like every year.
Yeah, they change it from when we used to be in there. You know, I see references in movies all the time. The New Incredibles, he's like, why would they change
Yeah,
math?
exactly.
Like, why would they change it? It works. Like, I don't get it either. But, like, I just wanted to ask, like...
I think that that people are trying. I think it's hard, like, to say, is it surviving or is it serving or is it failing? Because that feels very like no in between. You know, like I think it's trying. The people in it are trying, but it's such a huge system. Like it's not just in our school. You know, it's countrywide, and to change something that big, that takes a lot of work. And you know, everyone's trying, but not working together
It's
enough.
like
I
the
guess.
metric system.
Yeah.
Except that'd be more accurate, but like
But it doesn't stop the whole structure from kind of taking away the imaginative genius that our kids originally had.
And that's why we put together Home Gallery. Like,
Yeah,
that's
like,
the purpose.
There's always those kinds of people to try and help.
we're hoping to take that, bring that magic and imagination and creativity back, at least into our city for now, you know. And
But see, that's our system. That's our personal system. There was a study done by NASA scientists claiming that we use our creative genius after about 4 or 5 years old, or whatever. They did this study with kids who were about 4 and 5 years old, and about 98% of them had like incredible imaginative skills and stuff. And then about 5 years later, it dropped to 30%. And then when they were 15 years old, it dropped to 12%. And then when they were out of school, it was a 2%. You know, I don't know how to say this guy's name, but his name is Gavin Nascimento. He had an article and he quoted, "The reason for this is not too difficult to apprehend. School, as we plainly call it, is an institution that has historically been put in place to ultimately serve the wants of the ruling class, not the common people."
Yeah, I think kids are more creative when they're younger because they're not taught anything. It's like, have you heard that quote by like Bill Gates? Like, I don't know, like tell a lazy person to do something because they'll find like a more convenient way to do it or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I think like the more we get into school, we're taught how to do things like 2 plus, or like how the math system.
Like very restricted.
Yeah, very
definitely.
restricted. So like we're like, okay, I gotta do it this way. I can't do it the way I want it because.
Or the way that I'm going to attempt to do it.
That's
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes me, because like kids are more creative, like in preschool, like I don't know, like kids have like very imaginative minds, but then the more we're taught about like school and logic, we don't use it as much because we have to stick to that.
The boundaries
The
or
repetitive-
Yeah, exactly.
the patterns that are set up for you.
Yeah.
Just remember this. This is the answer. No, that's not the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Don't come up with your own answer.
Like,
Exactly.
I always hear like stories from like bad teachers. Like my friends telling me like there's this math teacher. I don't want to say his name, but everyone's saying he's a hard teacher, and like everyone comes up with their own ways to do a problem, because like it's way simpler. And he'll see it and be like, no, that's not how you do it. They get the same answer. He'll be like, no,
But
shut
the
him down.
fact that the math system changes so often
Yeah.
should show that there are different ways to do
Yeah.
things.
And
That
people just
even
ignore
math.
it.
Yeah.
It's
Yes. Then how are you going to encourage creativity and innovation and without encouraging your mind being open?
Underrated movies for you. What's one underrated movie that you feel like
question.
everybody is put down and you go, nah, man, that's a fucking awesome movie.
Ooh, that's a good one. Do
Or
you
that
have
people
any?
don't even want to see, that they pass
People
up.
don't even want to see.
I don't have movies like that, but like I've seen like cult movies, or like I don't know, like
Yeah, that's a good
or like a
example,
Clockwork
though.
Orange.
Oh, that's a good
My
one.
brother was like, ew, I don't want to watch that. It looks boring. It's 2 hours long. And then, like, he watches it and he's like, oh my god, Clockwork Orange is my life. I'm like,
Have
What's
you
that
seen
movie
any-
about?
It's a
It's-
Stanley Kubrick movie.
yeah.
Okay, because I got like Absinthe Mix. Called that. It's
Oh.
called Clockwork Orange.
I remember
So I was like,
Sienna's
Oh.
costume
Oh, yeah,
where
'cause,
she
like-
has the hat and the suspenders.
Oh, that's
It's from
so
that movie.
I see.
It's
okay.
about, like, this teenager in London, and he's in a gang. And then he gets caught, so then he gets, he goes to jail. And then they reference it a lot in, like, pop culture, the Ludovico thing, where they, like, open his eye, like, they keep his eyes open and they make him watch the screen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and then he turns good. So, yeah.
I read the
basically.
book. The book is crazy when they
I really want to read the book.
it has this crazy, I can't remember it now. I have the worst memory ever. But halfway through the book, they have him on stage and he like makes this revelation about Jesus in the middle of it that I was like, dang, that's crazy, you know? It's an interesting movie. 2001 Space Odyssey 2 is one of his.
I've been meaning to watch that.
fantastic
Have you guys seen
movies.
Valerian?
Valerian? Yeah.
Yes.
What an amazing movie.
I know I like
Yes.
it. A lot of people don't. Well, I get it. 'cause,
There's
like,
an underrated movie then?
I-
Well, yeah, that's an ultimate because
it actually is.
I feel like people don't like it because they look at those people, like those nice, cool, calm people that say hi to you, and if you notice that their countermeasures weren't like fatal, their gun just subdues you like
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and I bet like a lot of people who are like, see, I bet that's what the liberals wish could happen, you know, and it's like,
Very political.
why the fuck not? Like those people, dude, when I saw them, I got like a tear in my eye, like, because I was like, man, that's a civilization I totally wish can happen.
I know.
What was your favorite scene in that movie? Or like, what's a scene that stood out? You go, fuck, that's why Valerian's the shit.
I like when they were. I don't know. I just like when they were like went to like the different spaces because it was like very diverse. Like it was just like one huge planet ship, and it was like a whole like biosphere.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that was
And I really
completely
love the
relative
visuals.
to what America
The
is.
what?
This is a
The
melting pot.
visuals.
Yeah.
Because like I think a lot
Colors.
of people didn't like it because I watched like videos critiquing it. Is because in the trailer they didn't really explain what it was about.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
pretty
kind of
much it.
hard to though, like just
Yeah.
in like what a minute and a half that you get.
Yeah.
And I think the comic book people who ever read Valerian know the content of the comic book, so they probably thought it was gonna be real cartoony.
Yeah,
they probably were like,
so different.
If
yeah.
you guys ever
It's
read
a
the
French
comic, it's very
right?
a French comic. I don't think so.
I think it was made by a French guy. I don't know.
I read it in English. So I mean, I don't know. I got to look into that. Oh yeah, what an underrated movie for you.
Oh man, I love movies so much. Have you guys seen Enemy? It's like, do you know who Jake Gyllenhaal is?
Yeah.
It's like a very you wouldn't even know he did it. Like if he told you, honestly, it's like a movie exploring someone's mind and like really like when you lie and then start to believe a lie, and it's really cool.
There's some what is that movie?
When you
With
said that,
Leonardo DiCaprio. Inception, like real
Shutter
Inception like shit.
Shutter
Shutter Island like
Oh,
stuff.
That
Yeah.
one's good too. That's
good.
underrated.
Yes. I was showing her an underrated comic book movie.
It's like really similar to that.
The Punisher Warzone. Have you guys seen that?
I'm not sure where it's
It's with Ray Stevenson. He was in a movie called Kill the Irishman, which is another
Oh,
underrated
Irishman.
movie. Have you seen that movie? Yeah, it was really good. Based on a true story, I made her watch that one too. And you know that guy has some balls, man. He's just like on the news. He's like, if anybody from the mafia wants to come after me, I'm not a hard man to find. There's my house right there. You know, I'm like, geez, this dude's badass. No, he went on to play the Punisher Warzone. And I thought that was a real underrated movie. The guy looked like the Punisher, was big as the Punisher, took out dudes like the Punisher would. And the acting of some other guys seemed a little like, but the director also directed Green Street Hooligans. So it was like a brutal. You saw that movie?
That one too.
So it's kind of like the same cinema style. You know, it's like very brutal, up close.
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
So let's get into business about this Interrealm Rumble. Who is your favorite character, Arwen?
just in general,
Yeah,
Wolverine.
Wolverine. Okay, and do you have a favorite?
I mean, I like Batman.
You like Batman?
Oh, as a kid.
It seems like people love Batman through the nostalgia thing, you know. But I always encourage people to read comic books because the moment you do, you're gonna realize there's like immediately that there's so many dudes much better than Batman. You're gonna go, oh, dude. There's this guy you could fucking, you
Now that I
know.
think about it, like Deadpool or Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Like,
I love Deadpool too.
They have more character, I feel like.
See, and that's the thing. I would offer somebody to pick a character that's relative to you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not gonna know what it's like to be Batman. As much as we want to be billionaires, we're not gonna know what it's like to be Batman. And he claims to be very dark. And I don't know. There's guys like the Punisher who are just incredibly more darker. And Moon Knight. So, Arwen, you told us about a comic you were reading. Could you explain that to us?
House of M. It's it gives you like a short like prologue in the beginning. I don't really remember what happens, but basically it's like Scarlet Witch. I think it's after Infinity War because Vision's dead. Oh, that we're dead in Infinity War. We're dead in the House of M. So I guess like after that, it kind of like flipped her off the edge. And then ever since she's been changing reality little by little. So then it starts with the Avengers and the X-Men deciding like, oh, we're going to decide like, are we going to kill her? Or are we going to let her live? Because it's not for the best. But then like the Avengers were arguing like, oh, she's an Avenger. But then the X-Men were like, no, she's a mutant, so she belongs to us. So then they all go together and she's not there. And then everyone starts disappearing little by little. And then it just like goes white. And then it becomes a new reality where like
Crazy.
Mutants are like accepted, and like basically everyone knows who's who. Like everyone knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
No
and all
one's
that.
hidden. I
Yeah,
see.
like basically like the superheroes are like the celebrities,
Oh, cool.
and no one knows like what happened. No one knows like that the reality was changed or anything. But there's this one girl called Layla Miller, and she knows what happened. And Wolverine, like, it starts out with Wolverine in the new reality, and he's like starting to freak out because he sees Jean Grey because she's dead. And then I don't know, I'm bad at describing things, but basically like he makes it to Hell's Kitchen where he finds Layla Miller, and then he basically like, okay, you're the one who knows what happened, so we have to go tell all the other mutants, and they get into contact with them, and they know what's gonna happen, so they have to go to the House of M, and basically they're like almost like the presidential family of like the U.S. Like they're the Trumps basically.
Ah, I see.
And they're having like this whole Met Gala thing, and that's like basically everyone's gonna be there, like Storm and like Poseidon and all that. So then they go to like kill her, and then they couldn't find her because like she's in her own little reality thing, and then Doctor Strange trying to talk to her because she doesn't know what's happening, and like she's basically like lost her whole reality. Like she doesn't really know what's going on. She thinks she's like in her own little world, like everything's happy. So like she didn't know she changed the reality, and like they're saying like, oh, so basically she's like so unstable that she like couldn't even think of changing the reality. So they thought it was Magneto who told her to change it, but it turns out it was Quicksilver. So then Magneto gets so mad that he kills Quicksilver.
Well, why did Quicksilver tell her to do that?
Because he was basically sick and tired of being like the mutants being discriminated and all that.
I see.
So then basically like he's the one who like put it in her head like, hey, we could be accepted for once, we can be like happy as a family. So then Magneto gets so mad that he kills him, and then that breaks like Scarlet Witch is kind of like trance, and then she realizes. So then she's like, oh, like mutants are like monsters because like we can't even like keep I guess like we can't be happy because everything's like, I don't know, like we're mutants basically, like we're not meant to be happy. Like nothing's gonna like, I don't know, nothing's gonna be good forever.
Like because Magneto killed Quicksilver, it makes us no different from the humans.
Yeah, exactly. And like she calls them freaks, and then basically like it ends with her saying no more mutants.
Oh shit.
And then the whole reality just wipes out all over again. And then everything's kind of back to normal, but like some of the mutants lost their powers. Like I think what's it called? Charles Xavier's like his school for the kids. Most of the kids lost their powers. What's her name? Emma Frost has no idea what happens, and then it ends with Scarlet Witch like in a village like in Europe somewhere, but it doesn't like, it's like an undisclosed location, and then that's how it ends.
What comic is this?
House of M.
House of M.
Yeah, we gotta look this up.
It's really good.
That sounds amazing because now we can bring up the Interrealm Rumble. Now that she has presented that information, we have Silk Spectre and Dr. Manhattan versus Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. And knowing that information about Scarlet Witch, you know, how like she can manipulate and change reality and stuff, it really makes her a notable character, especially to someone like Dr. Manhattan, who a lot of people claim he has no real feats other than manipulating reality.
Well, what about the fact that he was able to make Rorschach
disappear? That's like changing the reality, like, you know, manipulating the atoms within him and stuff. Scarlet Witch, according to, like, she can not only do that, but she could put someone back without certain powers. You know, the thing about Dr. Manhattan, though, is he created the New 52. When DC wanted to revamp their characters and realign them to a modern take, it was Dr. Manhattan who basically changed reality, and now it became that. And Silk Spectre, she's basically
she's
like
human. She doesn't have any superhero powers. She has martial art skills.
Yeah.
She has like she's strong, and
so in a sense, I think Silk Spectre would probably weigh down Dr. Manhattan if he had to like continuously protect her from guys like Doctor Strange, especially Doctor Strange, who has, you know, the Time Stone and stuff.
He's one of like the 5 most powerful in the Marvel universe, right?
Yes. Doing some research on Doctor Strange, his astral form was able to visit his creators, which was Stan Lee and his illustrator. And after conversing with them, he like changed them both into cardboard cutouts, and they went back. You know, I was like, that dude just fucked with his god. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty cool. And then, you know, on top of that, Scarlet Witch, you know, if she wanted to manipulate certain realities while doing it, and it seems like Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch are a powerhouse.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I mean, I'm gonna go with them. When it comes to the team battle, it's gonna go to Doctor Strange
and Scarlet Witch.
I'm pretty sure, they're companions in House of M.
Oh, they are?
Oh,
yeah. I would assume that too. Like Beans Up. If you've seen Infinity War, they're both are the ones who dissolve.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're both working together and on the other side, you know, or speaking to each other. Yeah. Because she was wild card for me in that one, like the game changer. There's a lot of people who talk about how, like, Doctor Strange especially could have taken out Thanos, you know, with the circle and his hand goes through and just chop that motherfucker off.
But like you said, which is similar to Dr. Manhattan, they said that Dr. Manhattan can't do anything about the past, present, or the future, but he is able to witness it all at once. And I think it was similar for Doctor Strange. Like, he sees it and he knows what's going to happen, but he can't do anything about it.
He kind of has to go. Well, I don't know. Like, he can see. Doctor Strange can see a lot of outcomes. You know, not just like where it's going.
Well, I think it's similar for Dr. Manhattan as well. Like, he's like ever present. I think is the idea of it. I
see, but I still think like.
I still agree.
Like Doctor Strange, like he can, like you said, he can do the same thing. He can see every possible outcome, and it's funny because when I was looking up the, like the threads on Doctor Strange versus Doctor Manhattan, that was one of the things brought up. It was a year ago when someone was like, Doctor Strange can do that. I mean, Doctor Manhattan can do that. Like, you can see past, present, and future. And someone like recently wrote, well, so can Doctor Strange? Like, apparently, because you saw the fucking movie, right? And the fact that he can control time, Doctor Strange, like, makes him a very insane character. He beat the Living Tribunal. It was a celestial with like three, like he has one head but has three faces, like the past, present, future, and he like fucked that head up and then went out. So Doctor Strange is by himself probably can do it. He's like a real good connection between the magic and what is real. You know, he was a skeptic at first, and I think half of him is like, not a skeptic, but he understands what is real, and the other half of him knows that he can manipulate what is real. You know, so I like that balance about him.
Yeah.
Comics are real science.
Yeah, you know, there's a science fiction to it, and you kind of have to remember it. It's a precursor to science. So we all agree that Doctor Strange, and Scarlet Witch?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous. We got our winner, guys.
Do you ever have like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you ever have like, the guests that you bring to disagree? They're like, no.
Yeah, we had a DeAndre Garrett. He came on here and he said Darkseid would beat Thanos, and I just gave him my information. He had no rebuttal, and it came down to that. But we're gonna put up the bracket soon of who's winning, who's losing. The outcome is it could change based upon information given. So I leave that open. So like if you have anything to give,
it's like unanimous.
Yeah. For right now, we all know it right now. If anybody else has anything more to say, which I doubt.
No.
Yeah, see, right? I was like, I don't think so, you know. But then the next one is going to be Batman versus Hawkeye. Now, I have a lot of shit to talk about Batman. And I have a lot of good things to say about Hawkeye because I feel like that's one underrated character that doesn't get his, you know.
Do you really think Hawkeye and Batman are like even playing field? Yeah,
definitely. Especially if you got... I don't want to give too much away. I mean,
well, I want to know what makes you think that they are uneven.
Or they're,
Yeah.
Honestly, just the one thing of like everyone knows who Batman is, and it's like I grew up with him, and it's like I don't think anybody can beat up my Batman.
I see. So like I said, it's the nostalgia, you know. It's
the pure nostalgia.
That's what I realized too when I met him is that Batman, it's just because the movies came out, and then everyone like, you know, once someone does something, they're like, oh, I can do that, but I could probably do that better.
Yeah.
And so everyone just starts focusing on that one character.
Like, it's fad. It's a fad to like
but
it.
But now with all the Marvel movies coming out, I feel like it's really opening up people's like love for characters and superheroes.
Yeah, like you don't have to just like Batman because you grew up watching him.
Yeah.
I think, especially if you watch the animated series, you know, like there's a lot of reason to say like, you know, Batman's not the best, you know. And once you start reading some comic books about Hawkeye, there's old man Hawkeye right now, and he's basically collecting the rest of the Avengers, taking them out.
Oh, really?
You know, so he's a bad dude. And the fact that, you know, just the cinema, watching Hawkeye go up against everybody who has a power, like the Vision. If you watch the Civil War, when they all run at each other, Hawkeye goes after the Vision.
I know.
And I was like, oh my god, like the strongest dude, you're mine, bam. And I feel like Batman's more of a I gotta get out of here type of guy, you know.
It's like I'm gonna just wait for Alfred to bring my stuff.
Yeah, and like see, that's another thing I say. The difference between Iron Man and Batman is that Iron Man being on that planet fighting Thanos, that's Iron Man's thing. Like I'm not gonna go find somebody to fight this.
Yeah, he's like in every Batman movie. While he's like in the battle, he's like, Alfred, bring me this.
Yeah,
now, like,
I need to get out of here. Yeah, and then like he's like very like escapey, you know, and like I feel in that instance, Batman would have took off and got Superman and brought him back and be like, now let's fight him. I believe that the creators of Batman were inspired by Zorro. You know, as a lot of characters are inspired by such. But like Zorro, if you think about him, he's rich, black cape, protects the people, hates the government. You know, is rich. He has an Alfred. He has a secret lair. He has a badass horse that is the car. You know.
Was
But I think it's Batman's like a of Zorro and like Dracula put together. You know, so but its inspirations come from everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
I remember DC. I think about maybe 5 or 6 years after The Punisher came out, they had theirs called The Penalizer. And it was like,
Oh, I heard
that
of
was
that.
that's really on the button, guys. Come on. And they're paying you? They're paying you for this shit? Like, that's disrespectful. So yeah, thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Please let us know. Do you guys have any upcoming shows? Anything that we could come see you at?
We're really just trying to plan
Is
shows
that
out
one with
right.
Nebula Narcs? Well, if you don't know when it is,
This should be this month, I think. We might have a show in Pico.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we'll see though.
Yeah.
And you guys said last time that you're recording this summer, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're working on that.
Nice.
Yeah, like a demo down already. Kind
Nice.
Yeah.
Last time you didn't
Great.
have that yet, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
So like, keep us updated and let us know how that's going along. And if anybody else is listening and wants to stay updated with them,
Yellow Fuzz on Instagram. It's just Yellow Fuzz Band, I think.
Yellow
yeah.
Fuzz Band on Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys again for coming on. I'm Anthony Spartacus Tamayo here with Modest Betty herself.
Me, April Rodriguez.
Alan Sosa.
Arwen Llames.
You guys have a good one. Take it easy.